China and Europe agreed to a $17 billion purchase. As the U.S. is seen by Europe for what it is, the Sino-German trade has become a point of contention for certain U.S. government officials who claim that China aims to use economic disputes to sever ties between the country and its European allies, but it's clear that the U.S. side of this charge is unsupportable. Mutual benefit is at the heart of pragmatic collaboration between China and Germany, as well as between China and Europe. Based on this, Chinese businesses will also execute a $17 billion contract with Airbus. Scholz further stated that the travel to China was a wise choice and would not be broken off from China. It is not the United States' turn to interfere and intervene in these situations. The Chinese side of the hat was also addressed by the United States by opening its mouth. Since the war between Russia and Ukraine, the U.S. has been one of its most brutal allies. In order to force the European Union into an energy crisis, inflation, and the sale of liquefied natural gas for 4 times the price, the United States will be tugging its allies in Europe to support sanctions against Russia. In addition to Biden's recent signing of the Inflation Reduction Act, Macron and Scholz have also aroused resentment in the EU, leading to a consensus to work together to fight back. The fact that American politicians are making up China as the culprit shows their own heartlessness. China's overall power has been increasing in recent years. In an effort to exert pressure on China, the U.S. has enlisted allies, tried to stifle China's ascent through alliances, and even frantically played the Taiwan card prior to his trip to China. Scholz wrote an opinion piece that was published in the German media, asserting that Germany would uphold the one China concept despite the competitive challenges the development of China has placed on the West. Scholz also noted that Germany is opposed to the United States' perception of a new bloc clash and China's decoupling from it. Germany is obviously singing against itself, and Germany's policy toward China has generated controversy. Both the Green Party and the Liberal Democratic Party have pushed for a tough stance on China. It could be stated that Scholz insisted on beginning the trip to Beijing despite overwhelming opposition and intense pressure. As we all know, after the Russia-Ukraine conflict began, the United States and its EU held Germany's foreign policy hostage and forced it to gradually stray from its independent and balanced foreign policy. As a result, Germany provided military assistance to Ukraine on the one hand while imposing sanctions on Russia on the other, which exacerbated Europe's geopolitical and energy crisis. The U.S. has profited greatly by quadrupling the price of natural gas in European nations, including Germany, are upset about it. In actuality, German Chancellor Scholz had intended to make amends with Russia and boost bilateral energy cooperation. However, an evil force unexpectedly detonated the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline, leaving Germany in a state of shock. It is impossible to know. Numerous indications suggest that Nord Stream 2 was bombed in secret by no one else. The ongoing arch-fire on the United States of America is caused by the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. For security, Germany has historically relied on the United States. Energy from Russia, China for its assistance in the areas of commerce and economics. However, with the start of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, Germany's desire for security overrode its reliance on energy and insisted on having an anti-Russian policy. There were also voices in Germany that advocated for a decoupling from China. German Chancellor Scholz, however, came to his senses following the bombing of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and saw clearly that despite the Biden administration's pledge to support multilateralism and emphasize solidarity with Europe, it was still putting America first and even sacrificing interests of its allies in order to further its own commercial and strategic interests. Therefore, Germany cannot just rely on the background to increase collaboration with China in order to reduce inflationary pressure and achieve economic recovery in the setting of Russia and the United States. The German government approved COSCO Shipping's interest in the Hamburg port container terminal prior to Scholz's visit to China, which underscores the EU's and Germany's concept of supporting trade diversification and attaining mutual benefits. It goes without saying that this demonstrates Germany's readiness and sincerity to expand cooperation with China. Contrary to the Merkel administration, the Scholz administration is a 3-party coalition made up of the Social Democrats, the Green Party, and the Liberal Democratic Party, according to some assessment. Since the creation of the Scholz government till the present, the 3 parties that make up the red and green light government have held divergent positions on a number of issues. The handling of relations with China, which traditionally prioritized values over trade connections between China and Germany, has seen numerous disruptions and rumblings. But Scholz is currently working to gradually strike a balance. Naturally, the German chancellor wants to increase collaboration with China, and Scholz's visit to China results in positive feedback from China. China decided to acquire 132 A320 series aircraft and 8 A350s from Airbus at a time when the world economy is usually in the doldrums, resulting in the two companies signing a significant order for $17 billion. The sudden $17 billion dump of aircraft orders from China is a blessing in disguise for Germany and the rest of Europe. However, the Sino-German collaboration goes beyond German Chancellor Scholz's trip to China to pick up $17 billion huge order. In order to reverse this condition, the future of the two parties in the area of economic and trade cooperation mission will undoubtedly intensify. For many years, Boeing has been developing the Boeing 737 MAX model, and most of the nations that already own the model have given their approval for the request to restart flights. However, China has not yet received formal approval. This is primarily due to two factors. One is that there are still concerns about the model's dependability and safety. In the United States alone, there are around 100 aircraft of this type. The return to flight will pose a significant concealed risk to China's aviation safety if you are unable to fully guarantee the dependability of the aircraft to approve. On the other hand, Boeing Defense, a division of Boeing, has frequently sold Taiwan military equipment in recent years and is now on our list of entities subject to sanctions. Therefore, it is not unfair that China has not given the Boeing 737 MAX permission to begin flying. On the one hand, denying permission for American Boeing passenger planes to resume flight. The other strategy is to step up purchasing for the European Airbus. In the context of the game between the United States and China, the political message underlying this is actually rather clear. China continues to cooperate amicably. Naturally, when homegrown large airplanes are produced in great quantities, we can become self-sufficient as well. Additionally, this could be perceived as a way for us to fight back against the American onslaught. On the one hand, it can improve our economic and trade links with Europe, fostering the growth of Sino-European relations. Political concerns have traditionally played a significant role in restricting China and Europe's ability to cooperate economically, and we can successfully open the land link between Eurasia and China if we can politically develop enough mutual trust with Europe. On the other side, this might sever ties between the United States and Europe. When relations between the United States and Europe deteriorate, the United States will be totally incapable of starting a new Cold War with China. Additionally, even if the United States is successful in inciting unrest in the Taiwan Strait, the use of the Taiwan card will be meaningless, since the United States will not dare to impose sanctions on mainland China alone, because doing so would amount to self-violation. The war between Russia and Ukraine might have strengthened ties between the US and Europe. But because the US is so greedy, it forced Europe to cut off its energy ties with Russia and sold Europe expensive energy in order to make huge profits. It also forced European manufacturing companies to move their operations more quickly to the United States by raising interest rates constantly and escalating the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, among other means. According to the most recent developments, Germany and France, two EU leaders, have recently taken the initiative in condemning the United States and the United States Inflation and Reduction Act, which was officially implemented more than 2 months ago and abruptly caused this issue to flare up. Even the possibility of a trade war starting is not excluded by the United States and Europe. In order to communicate with Europe by concrete action, we are taking the lead this time in sending a sizable order for passenger aircraft to Europe. China aids Europe in achieving strategic independence